Good morning, listener. Here we go again for Have a Yarn Time, and we've got someone interesting lined up to talk to this morning. And what we decided to do was to try to get in touch with some essential services and people behind the scenes that everyone relies on. And I managed to get in touch with John Weaver from Interflow, and he's agreed to take our call, and here he is this morning. Good morning, John.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Happy Easter.
Same to you.
All
Beautiful
right.
day.
It is a beautiful day. Now, people are probably wondering what's Interflow and all that jazz. So, would you like to explain?
In a nutshell, we renew pipes, not just ordinary pipes, but pipes that take water, wastewater, stormwater, to houses, from houses, to buildings, from buildings. Company was founded by my grandfather back in 1936. We've moved through a number of different technologies, and these days everything we do is done with robotics, and that means if there's let's say a sewer pipe that has a blockage in it, we go in and through the existing access chambers and put a little robot down there, clear it out. We can actually renew the pipes from access chamber to access chamber, put a new pipe inside the old pipe. The idea of what we do is to try and renew the asset for another 50 to 100 years. So, in a nutshell, that's what we do.
I think it's a fascinating business, actually, John, and thanks for taking our call. I'll just explain to the listener what John's talking about here is that they sort of look after waste water and water in and water out, water that we've got to drink and water that goes the other way. And what happens is, of course, over the years, and they get a lot of pipes tend to get cracks and breakages in them and all that type of jazz. And instead of the cost of pulling up all the pipe and all the network, John's got a company here that goes in and sends, as you just heard, robotic repair kits or teams, if we'd like to call it maybe, or, intelligent sort of mechanical devices, and they go in there and they sort of bore or cover the inside of the pipe. Is that right, John?
I think the easiest way to understand it is to reline it.
Right, relining. And that saves the cost of, if any engineers are sort of listening to this morning, that saves the cost of sort of all the digging and replacing of pipes. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not just the cost though, John. It's a lot of other things that come into play. That, like, cost is important for everyone. These days, one of the things that we're doing is really focusing on the needs of our customers and trying to challenge the status quo. That's what we believe in, and that's why that's not just putting a pipe in the ground. It's more than that. It's about, like, we're about to do some work in Foster and Taree in about 2 weeks' time in Coast Water. When we're approaching that work, the actual repairing of the pipe's the easy bit. What's really hard is managing the community, the safety and environment on site. Everyone's happy. And I'll give you a couple of examples, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
So what I mean about community is, so we've got trucks, bread delivery trucks. They turn up on a site. There might be two. We park outside of someone's house. It might be someone's grandmother. We arrive there at 7 o'clock in the morning. That grandmother is likely to get concerned. One of the things we do from a community point of view is the guys will go up to the door. They're in their Interflow uniform. They'll knock on the door. They'll smile, and they'll explain what they're doing that day, how long they'll be there. And if the resident hasn't got any concern, they've got a telephone, but they'll give them a card saying, if you've got any concerns or questions, just come down and see me or ring this number. And you wouldn't believe how much that makes our job easier, and it makes it easier for the resident. Safety, it might seem like something you have to do, but in fact it can make it better for everyone. I'll give you another example. If you're working outside of school, let's say Foster Public School, sometimes we've got cables laying across the footpaths, and we've got open holes and that sort of thing. And mums and dads bring their kids to school to drop them off, might be a kindergarten kid or a first grader. They want to make sure they get into that school safely. So the way we set up the site when we're working around schools is really important. And the third thing is the environment. So a lot of the time when we're working in stormwater, for example, we are working in a pipe system that delivers to a lake, a river, a beach. And we're really careful about making sure that when we're cleaning the pipe or working in the pipe, that whatever the residue, the debris, that if we have to use a special resin, we've got to make sure that doesn't get down into the waterway and kill the native fish. Do all
that sounds pretty good, mate. As a matter of, well, just lead me through it. Like how would you collect the debris, that you're going through?
One of the ways we do it if we're cleaning a pipe is we've got these special trucks which are called recyclers, have a pressure spraying capacity. So they've got a nozzle and a hose, like your garden hose, but maybe 100 times more powerful than your garden hose, that we use to blast roots and debris downstream in a pipe. At the downstream access point, we'll have a hose from that recycler going down into the access chamber in the bottom. And as that water comes back, it sucks up the debris under vacuum, dumps it into a hopper in the truck. But that water we've used to pressure jet clean with is then recycled and reused, which is really important when you're in a drought. We do work all over Australia. We've got a contract with Balranald, with Wagga Wagga. We do work for Dubbo, Tamworth, and as well as mid-coast water. But, when you get into these, especially in summer in these dry towns, the fact that you can recycle the water without having to fill up all the time and keep wasting it down the drain is
it's a big plus. It's a
huge environmental plus.
What have you got there? Just like filters and things? It just sort of pressurizes under pressure through a membrane or something like that?
No, so you can imagine a flatbed truck. It's got two axles at the front for steering. It's got two axles at the back. It's got a big box on the back which stores water and has another chamber for storing debris. And then behind that, you've got a fairly specialised pumping system that pumps the water through the jetter hose, and that hose goes down underground, up the pipe, under its own, because the jet points backwards. So if you can imagine, I suppose, the nose of an animal going up and the jet's flying backwards. So it travels up the pipe itself, and then when you pull the hose back, it pulls the debris back because the jets are forcing the debris down. And then you've got it's almost like an elephant's trunk, if you like, off the back of the truck. You've got a 6-inch flexible rubber hose which has got wire in the rubber, it's stiff, and it sucks just the way an elephant does. When an elephant sucks up water, this thing sucks up the debris and the water that we've jetted in there. And in the special pumping system, then it recycles the water and stores the waste.
It's fascinating.
So that's one of the things we do.
Well, it's good, mate, because a lot of people just don't realise, what goes on with construction and reconstruction and looking after the infrastructure that people just take for normal when they go and turn on a tap or they go and flush the toilet. And it's quite intricate, really, what's happening all around them. But tell me, it's fascinating that the company's been going since your grandfather started it, did you say?
Yeah, that's right. So he started in 1936, in the middle of the Depression, and he started building sewers. And in those days they would spot and drive, which means they would dig a tunnel down to say maybe 6 or 10 metres, like straight down, and then that was your pot, and then you've got a drive through, which would be a horizontal tunnel, and they laid the sewer pipes in those tunnels. Pretty dangerous work, and then over the years it progressed into building silos after the war and lots of other things. And in fact, the pipes we're going to be renewing in Foster in a couple of weeks were laid by my dad in 1968.
Yeah, isn't that
1972.
Gee, mate, you might get down there and find a signature there.
No. But Dad tells me they'll be bullet straight, they'll be gun barrel straight. See, what happens is the pipes that were constructed way back usually designed to last 50 years, the system.
Yep.
Over time, they crack and break, the rubber ring joints break down, or the concrete gets attacked by hydrogen sulfide. And so the pipes in Foster that were laid in 1968 are getting towards 50 years, a bit over 50 years. So that's the end of their useful life. So what we're doing, we're putting in new pipes within the old pipe without digging them up.
That's the lining you're talking about, is it?
Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing in Foster. I think we're going to be doing something on the water mains in Taree. Again.
Now, can you do all this process as the water's flowing?
The drinking water? No. So what we have is a temporary, we call it an infrastop. It's something that we've got patent. You basically, the water pipes are only about, say, a metre maximum deep. We dig down, we cut a little hole in the surface, dig down, and we put this temporary valve in.
Mm.
We could use, in the system there's existing valves, but if you close one of them off, closes off the whole suburb. So by putting two of these infrastops in at strategic points, we may take one street offline for a day or something.
Right. So what you've got to break, got to break into that pipe, do you, to do that?
You break into it. You put a temporary valve in. We do the work, hopefully while people are at work, and then get the system back online before they get home from work.
Okay.
That's a system called pipe bursting, which it's different to lining. It's actually, we pull a polyethylene pipe in and fracture using an air-driven tool. We shatter the existing cast iron pipe or whatever pipe it is. We pull a new one in it. So we do it for water main. So there's all sorts. It really depends on what the client is trying to achieve and what's best for that local community.
Right. Now, tell me, John, did you guys develop this machine that does this relining of the pipes?
We took on a license from a company called Riblock back in about 1991, who had developed the technology, but it wasn't working. We then worked with Riblock to make it work. Yeah, over about 5 or 10 years of trial and error between the two companies, we made it work. So we didn't invent the system for relining. That was created by a bloke by name Bill Menzel. What we did, we used our years of experience to say, hey, you need to change this, you need to change that. And we worked as a team to get a solution, and it's an Australian solution for our conditions. So,
yeah, I'm just sort of saying, is it an Australian thing? Like, do they do this overseas as well, or have you taken this overseas?
Yeah, it's in the US, it's in a couple of other countries. It's being used in the UK, the US. It's because of the different conditions. So one of the things that's made this system really successful in Australia is the amount of concrete pipes that we've got in sewer. And what it does is when there's concrete pipes in a sewer, you get hydrogen sulfide, which breaks down the concrete over time, and you end up with these big holes. This system that we've helped develop winds in and then expands out to a full diameter. It's a mechanical process, and it spans over those holes.
I've seen it on your website. It looks fascinating.
Yeah. And so the competitors, the ones from overseas, they all use heat and steam or air to cure, which means that when you've got a section missing in the pipe, you end up with a bulb. It's not really good if you're trying to get something smooth.
That's right.
We've invented many different things that I suppose are tools. So when you've got the pipe main and there's a connection going up to the house, you've got to cut the hole in the liner there. When any time you cut a hole in the liner, there's always a gap between liner and pipe. So we've developed a system, well, my dad did develop a system to put in a 50-year seal at that point. Again, robotically. It's never been done in the world, and it's still under patent now. So we always we've been improving it so that we can meet the needs of the local community better.
What do they say? The necessity is the birth of invention, isn't it, type thing? That's right. The mother of invention.
And even in these COVID times, it's remarkable. We were really worried about what was going to happen, but we talked to our clients and understood what they wanted. We checked our processes, and useful is communicating with our clients and the residents. So you turn up to do work in an area, they get really nervous. The people get really nervous and say, "What are you doing?" And one of the things we're saying to them is, well, the system at the moment, it's critical that we don't have people run out of water. We don't have people whose sewage backs up and floods their house. So what we're doing is we're making sure the system keeps working the way it's designed. And as soon as we say that to residents, their minds put at ease.
Well, they'll probably bring you out a cup of tea and a few bickies, don't they?
Yeah, that hasn't happened before. They do bring their grandkids out to have a look at what we're doing, and we explain. The boys and ladies on site are very proud to explain it. One of the things we're really proud of, the culture, the commitment to caring for each other and caring for everyone we work. It's a bit old-fashioned. They're always reminded of our core values that my grandfather wrote down on a paper when he first started the company. Was that every project the company undertakes must add to its reputation for honesty, competence, and reliability.
Oh, that's a great thing to write down. You've got that on a little logo, have you, on your company?
No. My oldest brother Jeff is the managing director, and he's got it in top drawer still. And we're there to help people.
Well, that's it.
And
that's it.
Everyone has that belief, and they're so proud, whether they're in the office or on site or anywhere, to show you what they're doing and showing it how it's going to help, how it'll help you.
Well, back onto the just on the subject of doing the relining the pipes and all that jazz. Is it? Can you use this technology for other mediums, for example, like gas pipes or oil pipes, that type of thing?
Yeah, we've got systems that we could use for those type of applications, but historically, like we did do gas pipelines in the 70s, back down in Dandenong and through Victoria, but it's not something that we're focusing on at the moment. At the moment, the company's built around servicing people's needs for sewer, stormwater, and drinking water.
Oh, very,
Some of the technologies we have, yes, we could use it for oil, but we don't know how to do oil, so we're not going to do that. So it's
No, it was just a offhand question, because back in the 70s, it's funny you should mention the 70s, I actually worked as, I forget how old I was, 21 or 22, 23 maybe, and I was working with the gas pipeline going from Adelaide to Sydney. And,
right.
And we had to go out through the bush, and I ran a bunch of guys looking for holes after they laid the pipe. So it was a great job actually. And but I remember if they had a scratch on the pipe or there any type of leaks, they had to bring all the team back, bring back the backhoes, all this jazz. And I was just wondering, just off the top of my head.
We've had some Dad back in about 52 built the Ning and Cobar water pipeline, which is 300 mil diameter, about 300 kilometres long, and we've been talking to DPI Water about whether we can help them with that, because that's starting to age. But not oil and gas.
No, that's great.
Fairly specialised.
Well, listen, John, that's thanks very much for coming on air. We've got a whole pile of stuff here we can work with, and so you're not with your lockdown and the family and everything going well for you guys.
Yeah, it's great. I'm based in Canberra these days. I'll be moving up to Newcastle in the new year, but at the moment I'm stuck in Canberra here, which is nice. It's everyone smiles and says hello when they walk past. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. It's going to get cold there soon, buddy.
It's snowing in Jindabyne right now.
Is it really? Oh, I'm glad we've got the heads up. I better put that on the news and the news later on.
My daughter lives there, and she's a speech pathologist down there. And she rang. I spoke to her this morning. She said, "I'm just looking at the snow, Dad. Looking at the snow."
Well, listen, John Weaver from Interflow, thanks so much for taking our call there this morning, and stay safe and be good.
Yep. Thanks, John.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.